Good evening. Welcome to the Axis of Love show. We're very glad you tuned in. And this week we're going to be dealing with the sitlie law that's being proposed. And it reads, the definition of the law: no person shall willfully and substantially obstruct the free passage of any person or persons on any street, sidewalk, passageway, or other public place. It is being modeled after Seattle's federally affirmed ordinance. And the core of the proposed sitlie ordinance is from 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. it is unlawful to sit, lie, or maintain property on a public sidewalk. The first violation is an infraction. Any subsequent violation shall be a misdemeanor. No one shall be cited without having first received a warning from an officer and being allowed to take corrective action. Exceptions include medical emergency. Well, how are they going to tell? Activity pursuant to applicable permits, use of a wheelchair or a similar device as the result of a disability, and people standing in line for goods or services. Does that include being overweight and blocking the sidewalk? Do we have Jenny Craig Court now? So, we've got organized proposal is in response to dangerous and disruptive activity. Does not target individuals but addresses troublesome behavior. It enables preventative intervention before accident or crime occurs. It does not apply to municipal areas of public assembly, parks, plazas, courtyards, etc. They have other ways to get rid of them there. And offenders are warned and allowed to take corrective action. I've got this beautiful booklet called Without Housing. Decades of federal housing cutbacks, massive homelessness, and policy failures. That's what causes homelessness. And the fact that the population has grown quite a bit. So we have to learn to get along with each other and accept one another. All demographics. So another thing I wanted to say is we're all a part of this world and we have a right to be here. We should be enforcing our current laws. Irritation is not a crime. Sit-lie is already being enforced without legislation. We should not polarize ourselves with opposition. The opposition being those who want to put this law in place. We just want to educate them in a respectful way. We want to make them our allies. Our next strategy meeting to oppose this sit law ordinance will be at 5:30 p.m. Wednesday, March 17th, at the LGBT Center on Market in Octavia. When a sit law is enacted in other cities, people gravitate to places without the sit-lie law. And the law remains on the books in cities due to a lack of legal access. Now 70 cities across this country have this law or similar laws. San Francisco beat this proposed law. The voters voted it down in 1994 by 1 percentage point. They want to water down the bill this time a bit and compromise it. But civil rights are non-negotiable. We'd like to see people give public comment at the police commission on Wednesday at 6 p.m. any Wednesday, I think. Room 400, City Hall. We should get street people registered to vote and get them involved. We have 15 to 20 endorsers and the list is growing against sit-lie. So we have a lot of base building still to do. We need to reach out to other organizations in the homeless community. We need to email David Chu, Bevan Dufty, and Ross Mercarimi. The law has great potential for abuse. It offers few, if any, solutions. Just another prohibition designed to criminalize the same group always being picked on from all sides. This has potential for profiling undocumented people, LGBT people who've been kicked out of literally everywhere in the world. And San Francisco is the last place that will accept them. This is still a recession. Many are displaced. Discretion leaves a broad gray area with potential for abuse. Officers may judge people by their clothing. There's some axioms and undisputed truths. Any society that would give up a little liberty to gain a little security will deserve neither and lose both. And that was written by Benjamin Franklin. That's a quote. And a person's character integrity can be measured not by their devotion to their ideals, but rather by their degree of intolerance. There is sparse police foot patrol in the Tenderloin. I feel safer with folks around to at least witness what goes on. We don't get enough credit for policing ourselves. The real criminals aren't sitting or lying. This will take up police and taxpayers' resources that could be better spent catching child molesters, organized crime, gangs, pickpockets, unsolved murders, and even white-collar crime. Cameras are a better idea without extra enforcement. Cameras are a deterrent. The failed corporations are the biggest panhandlers in the world. Foreigners are used to seeing people outside and are more open-minded about the issue. Our services have been cut. Why not a remedy for that? Get curious, not furious. So, sir, what were your experiences with the recent enforcement?
Well, I was sitting on the steps of the Mint building practicing my clarinet, but in my shoulder bag down here in the bottom I had a bottle of beer, but it wasn't obvious that I was drinking at all. You know, on the steps there in front of the Mint building, you'll find some cans of beer that are just openly left there by people who were blatantly consuming the beverage, but not me. What happens is the cop walked up the steps and then walked down. He looked down into my shoulder bag and could see a beer. Yeah. So I feel like it was really the result of a search. That's, you know, and so he gave me a ticket for the cracked bottle of beer. Oh. And that was $160 some odd. And I can't really afford that too much, you know, because I'm retired. And don't retired people have any privileges, you know, just to sit there and practice the clarinet, you know?
Yeah, wet your whistle a little, yeah.
Yeah, but from the street, anybody's walking down the street, nobody can see a beer up there in my shoulder bag, you know, down here in my shoulder bag.
It was more or less an unlawful search.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Well, yeah, he was looking real hard for some sort of predatory satisfaction. That's what I feel like. And, you know, he got his quota of tickets that day, I guess. Made some money for the city.
Well, they're supposed to be targeting organized crimes, selling drugs, and gangs. And that's that was a claim made, and I'm just making sure that that is being followed, although it doesn't seem like it is. So what about the lapel pin?
Well, in 1989, Art Agnos awarded some of us workers in the hospitality industry with a lapel pin because San Francisco won the recognition of being the #1 tourist spot in the world.
Yeah.
And so we all posed a bit for the big photograph at City Hall and everything, and the lapel pins were distributed, and you know, I can proudly wear that lapel pin.
And you probably had a cracked beer in your bag then too.
Well, I don't know, not really, because I'm a worker, but now I'm retired.
Yeah, well, we appreciate your music and your comments as well. Thank you, sir.
Sure, thank you.